Good morning. Good morning. We're about to kick things off. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Perkins' 41st Annual Early Connections Conference, presented by the Van Sloun Foundation. This year's theme is Educate. I'm Amy Ferreira, Director of Admissions and Enrollment. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you all here in person and those tuning in this year for this year's first ever conference app. We have representation from 37 different states across the country and 14 different countries across the world. So whether you're here live streaming, or watching us later, we are so glad that you chose this conference. Early Connections is more than just a day to learn and connect. For some, it could be the beginning of your journey, and for others, a chance to refresh on current practices and resources. Our hope for you today is to lead with possibility, raise expectations for your child or student, gather knowledge and connections for the road ahead, and of course, to have some fun. We've curated a diverse and exciting schedule for you today. In a few minutes, we'll have our keynote, followed by 2 breakouts. Back here for lunch together, raffle announcements, maybe a special treat, followed by 2 additional breakouts to close out the day. The program in your conference bag contains the full schedule as well as a map. And don't forget to visit our exhibit hall. Today would not be possible without the leadership of Rachel Bennett. Rachel joined the team just about a year ago and absolutely jumped at the opportunity to lead this event. Watching this conference grow and evolve over the years has been absolutely exciting and just such a pleasure. And with you at the helm, Rachel, the best is yet to be. I'm going to have Rachel come up here and finish kicking us off this morning with a few thank yous and to intro our keynote. Once again, we are so happy to have you here and thank you for sharing this beautiful day with us.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Amy, and thank you all so much for being here. I was joking earlier, they shouldn't make the Southerner do the thank yous because we are polite to a fault, and so this might take a little bit of time, but I'll try to get through them pretty quickly. Our keynote speaker is about to take the stage, but before she does, I'd just like to take a few minutes to acknowledge everyone who has made this event possible. There's so many of you, and we're so grateful. I'd first like to thank our sponsors, the Van Sloun Foundation, Scope Eye Care, and Eastern Bank. As Amy mentioned, we've reached an unprecedented number of people this year from across the world, and that's due in large part to the generosity and support of these organizations who believe in our mission that every child can learn. I'd also like to thank our wonderful exhibitors whom you've hopefully had a chance to meet this morning, as well as our kind donors, Whole Foods, Lyft, Life Bloom, Trader Joe's, and Ben & Jerry's. To the many volunteers and Perkins teams who helped put this event together, including our facilities teams, marketing and development, people operations, the CVI Center, the digital accessibility team, and food services, I cannot thank you enough for this collaborative effort that you have put into making today a success. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I can also tell you it takes a village to organize a conference about raising a child. So thank you so much. I'm so lucky to work alongside you. In addition to these teams, there are a few people in particular I'd like to recognize. First, thank you to Robin Clark, our keynote, for giving your time and expertise as our keynote speaker. Yes. Yeah. Your enthusiasm and dedication to your work are infectious, and we're so fortunate to not only be able to call you our keynote speaker, but also our longtime Perkins friend. I'd also like to acknowledge our speakers who have put a lot of time, thought, and care into their presentations today. To Perkins President of Educational Programs, Ed Basso, your dedication to your team is only outmatched by your dedication to your students. Thank you for your unwavering support and kindness. Thank you also to Perkins Events Coordinator, Tomas de las Casas, and my teammate, Justine Carlone Rines, for your patient flexibility and partnership over the past year. Thank you as well to the rest of the admissions team who has helped me today. I could not have done this without you. And Amy Ferreira, your guidance, encouragement, and support are unmatched and appreciated more than you know. Thank you for your visionary leadership of Early Connections over the past few years, and this year included, and for trusting me with this special day. This event would not be what it is without you. Lastly, and most importantly, I want to thank all of you. I have a sibling with a nervous system disorder and saw firsthand the fear, uncertainty, and loneliness my parents experienced with the first days of diagnosis. It's exhausting. But I also saw and still see 25 years later their unwavering hope. Thank you for trusting us with these emotions and your time and your energy. We do not take them for granted. And everything today is because of you and for you. So thank you so much. I would like to now introduce you to Robin Clark. It's a privilege to have her here, and she has a wonderful keynote for you. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm a little smaller than everybody else. Okay, full disclosure, I am very excited and I am doing my best to keep it cool and to look classy so that everybody can understand me. But I love this conference. I love this school. I love this building. I love this topic so much that I am inside having a party. So I am very excited to be here with you today. And so for those of you that really know me, you will immediately recognize how slow I am speaking. And that is so that I do not overwhelm you for the next 45 minutes. But I feel like if I just say out loud, I am so excited to be with you, that everything else will flow and I'll be as classy as I want to be at this particular moment. So welcome everybody to the Early Connections Conference 2024. I am so excited to be here. I'm just going to say that one more time and then let's get on with this. I love being able to connect with families. So being here is a real treat for me. I have been in the field for 21 years. Cue gasp. What? She looks so young. Didn't she just graduate college? Nope, 21 years, friends. And I've had the privilege of being an early intervention provider, a teacher of the deaf-blind, an expanded core teacher, and now an educational leader. I have had the privilege of working with students and their families across the country. I'm a former New Englander, so shout out to all my families who are here from Connecticut. What's right? Connecticut friend. Actually, she went to high school at the same place that my husband did. How fun is that? So excited for everyone to be here. I love being able to talk with families because the real magic of education is nurtured in the home. I tell you with full confidence, every real success students have had was linked to their family. Let me also give a shout out to all the professionals who are also here today. My professional successes have been because of the mentorship and collaboration with amazing professionals who have made me a better teacher of students with visual impairments. Now, I hope all of you will indulge me as I have selected some personal experiences with students and their families to drive my remarks today. I use my personal experiences because I want you to know that although this new world that you have entered feels foreign, you are not alone. Now, this particular conference holds a special place for me because I've been able to attend several times over the years. I like this new phrase, longtime Perkins friend. I may get that on a t-shirt and start wearing that when I come. But in 2012, I presented at this conference with two of my students. They came, shared their experiences, and provided some ideas for parenting. So we should be looking at a picture of them. Here we are. So here's a picture of me with two of my students with the Howe building behind them. Notice again that I am the shortest of these two male students. I think this is a theme of my life. But it was so exciting to be here with them. So I have two male students and I standing together. Now that same year, my grandma also attended this conference and she came to hear me present. So we're looking at a picture right now. There I am with my grandma who is just as short as I am. So I think now you can see this is where my height deficiency has arrived from. So my grandma and I are standing there with the Howe building behind us. And then there's another picture of my mom on her 50th birthday at Disneyland. So she has her Mickey Mouse ears on. Now, back in 1959, early intervention wasn't a thing when my grandma was a new mom to a newly diagnosed baby who was blind. My grandma was on her own trying to figure out not only the blindness piece, but about everything else. My mom has epilepsy, and later my grandma learned that my mom has additional disabilities. My mom is completely blind. She was born with low vision with a condition called toxoplasmosis. She had an accident in high school while attending the state school for the blind, and her retina was detached, and that took away her remaining vision. So she was blind before I was born. Now I could fill this entire block of time with stories and memories of a life with a mother that couldn't see me at all. I don't quite have enough time for that, but I do want to share one powerful lesson that I learned early on in my life. Blindness is not the end of the world. There wasn't anything in my life that I felt that she missed because of her blindness. I learned that there is a language of blindness very early on in my life. I was that little girl that had bells on her shoes and knew when to make noise when my mom was walking around or where she wanted to find me. And as I grew up, I knew how to describe things and concepts. I knew how to where to put her hands on things, how to make it accessible to her, and so that she could understand everything. Now, unfortunately, most of media today often depicts blindness as one of the worst things that can happen. That is simply not true. Yes, there were things that my mom couldn't do. For example, she couldn't drive me to school, but the list of things that she could do far outweighed what she couldn't do because of her blindness. So back to the 2012 Early Connections Conference. My grandma was here and was overwhelmed with all of the resources that families have today. She actually felt a little envious when she learned about early intervention providers that come into families' homes and model and show and coach. I often wondered what the doctors told her at that time about how to navigate these early years. I wonder about those quiet moments where she felt so overwhelmed and alone. So at the conference, her envy did fade, and she expressed repeatedly how she was filled with gratitude. Her time as a parent in this stage had passed, but she was still so grateful to be with parents and feel the community that we have today. I think that the gratitude was more than pride of actually coming to see me, because she hadn't anticipated seeing and experiencing so much. She visited vendor booths and tried out all kinds of devices and toys, etc. And she sat and talked with parent after parent for the whole conference and learned from them. I think it was actually quite healing for her to be here, even if it was 50 years, quote, too late. So take a moment to be here. There is power in being together as a community. So the slide shows that there is power in being together as a community. So whether you are on with us virtually or you're here in person, look to your left and to your right. There are families that are here that are in your shoes. Okay. Okay, we are back. I know it. Okay. So there are professionals who are here to serve and understand you. You may have traveled a long way to be here, but remember, you are not alone. You can be real here. You can cry. You can even scream. It's all good. We got you. We know. So as we gather here today, I want to speak directly to you incredible parents of little ones with visual impairments. Your journey may have begun with unexpected challenges, but I am here to remind you of the limitless possibilities that lie ahead for your precious children. From the moment your baby entered this world, you embraced parenthood with unconditional love and unwavering dedication. You have navigated the unknown with courage and strength, advocating for your child already and ensuring that they receive the support that they need to thrive. It is natural to have worries and fears about the future, but I urge you to hold on to hope and faith. Your children, with their unique abilities and perspectives, have the potential to achieve greatness beyond measure. And I put that up on the screen so that you can be reminded. I just want to say this again. Your children, with their unique abilities and perspectives, have the potential to achieve greatness beyond measure. It is not their vision that defines them, but their spirit, resilience, and determination to overcome any obstacles in their path. Now, all of those inspiring words aside, let's be real. Your children did not arrive with a parenting manual. And for every awesome moment that you have and will experience, there will be moments of frustration, uncertainty, and doubt. My message today focuses on how I can empower you through education. Throughout this conference, you will learn and increase your knowledge. I challenge you to take this new knowledge and add action to it. When you do that, you have power. You are empowered in your families and in your career. Now, there's a side note. There is no cap or minimum on knowledge. It's okay if you only have about 1 inch of capacity to take in something new, or you might have a whole shelf to take in this knowledge. Take what you need for today. Now, I want to offer 5 pieces of advice to empower you. And these are the words on the slide. Educate, expect, experience, experiment, expanded core. It's an E thing. If you couldn't guess, I got a theme here. So we're just going to go with the E thing. So let's get into this. Let's start with educate. It's our theme for this conference. Now, it's easy to lose yourself with wanting to learn everything about your child's needs, their diagnosis, their vision, everything. These are all worthwhile things to learn. I want to encourage you to also have space for the other things to educate you and your child. You may or may not have fancy degrees in education, child development, neuroscience. None of that matters. Educate yourself on your child. Get to know them, not always for the sake of advocacy, but for the connection. Be thoughtful to not limit the education of your child to academics. Educate your child with life, love, experiences, because these things matter too. Consider that some of your children may learn better with using their feet, their hands, and in all kinds of ways you could not imagine. Be prepared that learning will happen inside and outside of the box. Some of your little ones will learn better in different positions, from sitting at a traditional desk to laying in a certain position. Now, you will likely learn just one step at a time. There is no rush to learn everything. Each new phase of life will bring new opportunities to learn. You will learn strategies that can help with communication. You will learn about learning conditions that help your child to learn the best. You will learn what colors your child sees the best. You will learn things that excite you and things you never expected to learn. Oh, and you will also learn more acronyms for things you never knew existed. So from an IFSP to an IEP with a TVI is all part of this new journey. It's exciting stuff, huh? Okay, now let's talk about expect. Expect that your child can and will learn. The Community for People with Down Syndrome has a phrase that has really struck me deeply. And I'm putting this on the screen for everybody to see. Assume that I can, and maybe I will. Your high expectations do not have to be mile high with every skill. It is not a competition to hit milestones. It's about the quality of your expectations. No child is too impaired, too fragile, too anything to not learn. So expect that things will come in ways that you cannot imagine. Now, I had a student who has no vision and lives with autism. She is nonverbal. She has had aggressive behaviors. Her learning profile is quite unique. And I was privileged to be one of her teachers in her middle school years. Her mother is the foundation to her success. Now, I also want to include that this could have been a caregiver and other people, but in particular for this child, it was her mother. I learned about the quality of expectations by watching this mother, because this mother was my teacher in many, many ways. Now, quick side note, this mom has other kids, other responsibilities. She has a job. And just so everybody knows, she did not receive a degree in autism and blindness prior to having this child. She learned by the very principles that I am talking to you about today. She taught me about the balance between having high expectations and taking things one step at a time. When so many educators said no to her daughter, she said yes. She was on her hands and knees. She was hand under and hand over hand. She was constantly there to hold boundaries with her daughter. Now, I really hope I give this mother justice for how powerful she is and what she made happen for her daughter. The key thing that this mother has is expectations. She expected that her daughter would learn. And that's the thing I remember most vividly about her. So I want to show you a picture. And what we're looking at is two pictures side by side. And so one of them is this student that I'm talking about in her pink ball gown. And I'm showing you pictures from a Sweet 16 ball that her family threw for her. And so on the other side is a picture of all of her siblings and her mom helping her blow out the candles on her birthday cake, because that was not something that was in her wheelhouse, but her whole family was together. And so there's our mom and there's my student. And it's just so magical. So magical. So, I encourage you to have high expectations, not just for your child, but for the world that awaits them. This mom pushed back when others said that her daughter couldn't learn. Now, there was a phase of life when her daughter's autism needs were quite high and strong. It was challenging to know how to teach her daughter. So we take things one step at a time, but we still hold this expectation. It might be adjusted at times and as needed, but have expectations for the world. For this student, she was reassigned a team of paraprofessionals that were just amazing. Not because they were all trained in autism and blindness and had advanced degrees, but because they educated themselves on this young lady. So we're looking at a picture of them right now. There's two of them and me in a little cute selfie. The paras in this picture knew what was happening for this young student by the way she scratched her braids, adjusted herself in her seat, and a million other small, almost imperceptible ways they understood her. Together with their mom, they were partners. They turned things around. And when I was able to come back on the scene, we made magic happen. All because as a team, we sought to be educated on the needs of this young lady. I was able to leverage the strategies and knowledge from our field to provide the right instruction. So I'm giving you permission to expect disappointment, discouragement, and frustration. But don't let those feelings win. Expect that it will happen and plan for the rebound. Expect that others will see things about your child and magnify them. All right, our next one is experience. Nothing ever becomes real till it is experienced, said John Keats. Now, how many of us have grown, developed, stretched, and learned by numerous experiences? Meaningful, hands-on experiences are the real teachers for your child. You can have those experiences in your own home, led by parents and caregivers. I know that sometimes experiences are scary. But I can't help but to quote the amazing Helen Keller, who said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. And you have a ticket to unlimited adventures with your child. You don't have to do everything all at once. Small, everyday, meaningful experiences strung together create the magic for your child. Now, the other valuable part of our Dear Teacher experience is found with reflection and relationships. So I empower you to take moments to reflect on your experiences. You don't always have to react to things. Take a moment, process it. What can you learn from the good experiences, the hard experiences, and every experience you will have in between? Reflection is a powerful tool for education. I also empower you to stay connected with our community and the communities that you live in. Build relationships. Empower your child to build relationships. Now, some relationships may surprise you. They can come from the most unlikely of sources. Remember that education doesn't just happen in the classroom. You and your child can learn just as much outside of the classroom as within it. Now, our next one is experiment. Now, remember when I said that your child didn't come with an instruction manual? Parents, caregivers, and professionals, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to be curious so that you can experiment to learn how to best serve and love these little ones. Families, encourage your education teams to experiment and go beyond a rigid approach. Get to know this child and try some new things out. Now leverage the knowledge and strategies that we do have in our field to create the just right learning conditions, experiences, and lessons that each child needs. Some of the best things that ever happened came about because someone experimented to see how we can do things differently, more efficiently, or more effectively. Families, go with your gut. I can't tell you how many times I've been able to design the right lesson because a mom or a dad was curious to try something different for their child. Their curiosity guided me. In fact, I can't tell you how many times as an early intervention provider, I came into a home and a parent said, hey, look at this thing I just made. I figured out a way to hold them up in the bathroom so that I can give them a bath easier. Or look at this tunnel thing that I made. Or look at this. All of that was experimentation guided by curiosity. So let us be partners in this process. Now I'm going to show you another picture from my own experience. And so what you're looking at right now is a collage of 4 pictures of a very young Robin, one of them. And this, I was a deafblind teacher of 2 students. And so you're looking at pictures of me with crazy things that I've done with them, teaching them how to play football. We're at a park or something. We're with a horse. I'm holding a pumpkin. And there's also a picture of Alicia Keys. I'll explain that later. So as a teacher of the deafblind, I learned the principle of experimentation firsthand. I was a mad scientist who experimented with all kinds of pieces to learn how to design the right environment for my students. Now, I had a student that came to me in 2nd grade who was nonverbal. They said that she had hearing, but she just couldn't talk. Now, I'm not going to lie. I played Alicia Keys a lot in my classroom at this time. And I started to notice that when I turned off Alicia Keys, this student would react. So I experimented with this. I turned off the music more frequently. She would react. I would say, Alicia Keys. Long story short, guess what this little girl started saying? Yep, Alicia Keys. She would go on to learning so much more and became verbal. She could express her thoughts and her feelings to her family in our classroom and in the community, all because I experimented when I noticed something different. So let's give a shout out to Alicia Keys, by the way. She was a game changer in this student's first word. Families, there's no right way that you can always use toys or books or anything. You just never know what you will find when you experiment with the world around you. And now the expanded core, my favorite thing to talk about. let me formally introduce you to the expanded core curriculum. Now you're looking at an image that shows all 9 areas of the expanded core with a few pictures in between of students with visual impairments. Now, you might not hear a ton about the expanded core right now, but I want you to make a mental Post-it note because as your baby grows, expect to hear it from your teacher of students with visual impairments as they come to toddler playgroups, preschool, and into school age services. The expanded core is the unique and critical key that unlocks all the magic to happen for children with visual impairments. The expanded core is a body of knowledge and skills that your child has a right to. It is designed to meet the needs of children with visual impairments to address what they miss due to a lack of incidental learning. Incidental learning is the learning that you acquire just by watching things happen. The expanded core is for students of all abilities and vision needs. It does not replace academic instruction. The skills of the expanded core are learned in the home, school, and community. Parents, caregivers, teachers, all of you play a role in helping the child develop expanded core skills. Now, for babies and toddlers, you can help your child learn these skills by doing everyday activities, letting them help while you do tasks with them, allowing them to explore, and connecting with you are the very foundation pieces of the expanded core. The skills of the expanded core are the vehicle that your child will use to develop a thriving quality of life. There's no limit to the reach of expanded core skills. And so I'd like to give you a tiny sneak peek to what possibilities there are with the expanded core in years to come for your little ones. I have been part of some amazing expanded core lessons throughout my career. I have actually traveled the world coaching students on developing their expanded core skills in a travel program that I lead that's designed for youth with visual impairments. I have taken students abroad to Australia, London, and Ireland, and within the United States, including coming here to Perkins. I've coached students to develop their expanded core skills in their schools, at Target, and in more restaurants than I can count. I've also done it in homes with their families. I've done something called a Spartan race, triathlons, and adventured in a lot of ninja gyms. When I was a deafblind teacher, my 2 students learned how to play rugby, completed science projects, learned how to play jump rope games on the playground, and explored the world from a small classroom in Las Vegas. My list could go on, but I share these things with you because all of these things that I mentioned seemed unlikely or even impossible for the students that I serve. And yet I again applied these principles of education, expectations, experimenting, experience, and expanded core to create magic for students of all abilities and vision needs. Whew. This has been a lot of information, right? Take it in, take it in. This is my intentional pause, so you're not overwhelmed. I want to invite you to take a moment and reflect on these E's that I've covered. Which ones are a priority for you? There's no right answer for this. Consider this based on your family circumstances, values, and culture. I'm handing you the pen to take these pieces and write them to align with your child and your family. I have had the experience of serving families in early intervention as a deafblind teacher and as an expanded core teacher. In each of these experiences, I learned a tremendous amount from the family. So I'd like to share some of their insights. I'd like to share from Val and Lisa Hardy, who were the parents of 2 young men who were deafblind. I had to pause there because I almost said boys, but they are young men. They are grown men at this point. And I had the pleasure of being the teacher of their youngest son, Kyle. And I was a brand new teacher when I met Kyle. And everybody used to always say to me, "Oh, you were the best thing that happened to him." Maybe, but I don't really believe that. I was a brand new teacher who had just taken on a role that I don't know if I felt completely prepared to take on. And he took a chance on me. He took a chance on me and my crazy ideas and my inexperience. And he let me be a partner and teach him. Thank you for indulging me to talk a little bit about him because he changed my life. My son is named after him, and my son knows that he has some big shoes to fill because Kyle Hardy was an amazing kid. And every time I walk behind a learner that has a reverse K walker and uses hand under hand sign language, I think of Kyle. He was amazing. But from his parents, let me share some of their advice. They say, first of all, parents have a lot of power, so don't forget that. Second, if you are going to use that power or an idea or problem solving, be prepared to follow through at home, especially of what you expect teachers and therapists to do for your child at school. Do your homework on your child. What kind of disability does my child have? Are there any limitations that I should know about, physically or cognitively? What are they capable of doing? How far can they be stretched? Ask a lot of questions to your doctor and find other parent groups who share in your child's disability. They say be realistic, but shoot for the moon and you might reach the stars. Have a drive that you are your child's advocate and nobody knows your child better than you do. Find the right educators for your child, even if it's an inexperienced 20-year-old something that seems a little overwhelming. They took a chance on me too. And then try to collaborate all of the specialists like orientation and mobility, occupational and physical therapy. Try to help put it all together. Visit the school often so that you can learn and incorporate the activities that they are learning at school into your child's routine at home and when you're out into the community. Now, I also reached out. Now, I'm a 40-year-old, so I'm going to talk about Facebook. Okay, technically, I'm a 44-year-old, but I'm going to talk about Facebook. And so I'm a part of a really great group called Parents of Blind and Visually Impaired Kids. It's a great group to be part of. And I asked families in that group for advice to give to you today. And one of the moms, Elena Iliora, said, one of my biggest pieces of advice is to join this Facebook group. Also, she said, grieving and accepting your new role as advocates and new vision experts, and then learning to be an active and savvy advocate. I have found that second opinions are my friend. People will underestimate your child, but you don't have to. People will tell you how things are going to be, but they may not really know anything about what will happen to your specific baby. It's a balance between accepting reality and being open to options and challenging the haters. I also want to share from Rob Harris, who I've also had the pleasure of teaching his child virtually. He says it very simple. He says, give yourself the space to grieve and then jump into action. Your role as a parent is critical. Trust yourself. I'd like to share again about my life with my mom. It was just her and I growing up. And I'll be honest, we did face some barriers that were related to her blindness. I don't want to tell you that it was never an issue, but her blindness was also an opportunity. It was an opportunity for me to do the very things that I just spoke about. It was an opportunity for us to educate, expect, experience, and experiment. And later on, for my mom, expanded core, because she learned a lot about the expanded core when her daughter became an expanded core teacher. Now, the more I sought education in traditional and unconventional ways, the more I created the capacity to understand blindness. In a lot of ways, I see past it because she was my mom first and a blind person a distant second. I feel that way about the students that I serve. They are amazing, but not because they are blind, but because of the adventures we have had together. I see them face challenges and experiment on how to deal with them. I see how they have expectations to be treated as capable young adults. I see how a range of experiences shape them to become the people that they are meant to be. So as you embark on this journey with your precious child, I want to leave you with words of encouragement and hope for the future. The road ahead may seem daunting, but again, know that you are not alone. Your love, support, and unwavering belief in your child will be their guiding light as they navigate the world with resilience and determination. Remember that blindness does not define your child. It is just one aspect of who they are. With your love and guidance, with your mistakes as well, they will learn to embrace their uniqueness, develop their strengths, and overcome any challenges that come their way. Your belief in their potential will be the foundation upon which they build their dreams and aspirations. Through patience, creativity, and a nurturing environment, your child will thrive and excel in ways that you never thought possible. So celebrate every milestone, no matter how small, and cherish the moments of growth and discovery. Your child's journey may have its ups and downs, but with your unwavering support, they will reach new heights and achieve great things. As you witness the world through your child's eyes, you will come to appreciate the beauty of resilience, the power of determination, and the limitless possibilities that lie ahead. Your child's future is bright, filled with endless opportunities waiting to be explored, touched, and embraced. So hold on to hope, believe in the extraordinary potential of your child, and trust in the journey that lies ahead. Your love, strength, and dedication will be the guiding force that propels your child to a future filled with promise, success, and happiness. You have a great day ahead of you here at this conference. There are excellent sessions and many opportunities for you to educate yourself and your family with, but look for little opportunities to also connect and educate others. This may be the first step for some of you, but it won't be your last in this journey. Thank you.
So we have some time for question and answers. We're going to do in-person question and answers first and then virtual. Does anyone have any questions for Robin?
Where did I buy this amazing dress? I will tell you, I got it on sale at Nordstrom Rack. And every woman who has ever found a sale on a great dress that you love knows it is worth sharing. Nordstrom Rack.
And it fits you perfectly too. So it's like another win.
Had to get it tailored, but doesn't matter.
Okay,
Still
never
wearing
mind.
it. Still wearing it. And it might be weird to ask a question so publicly. So I'm hanging around. There's free lunch for me. So it's cool. I'll be here. I'm excited to have a session where we can be a little bit smaller. It'll be in this room. So if you have other questions that you're like, I don't know if I want to talk about this out loud, I'm here. I'm happy to talk. I'm super approachable, and I'm happy to share stories of what it was like growing up. In fact, if I can just share one, my mom has never seen me, but I always knew how important it was to tell her what I looked like, so that I always thought to myself, what if I got kidnapped? What would I do? And so every morning I would wake my mom up before I went to school, and I would tell her what I was wearing. I would tell her if it was a softball day or an ROTC day or something where I would be doing different things. I told her all of these things because I was like, if I go missing, she's got to have a clue. I mean, what's going to happen? Now, as an adult, this is really being live streamed, so this is going to get out to my mom. I know it. But I've told my mom, if people want to know what I look like, just say Beyonce. People will know exactly what that means. And I look exactly like her. And so for a hot 15 years, my mom has said, oh yeah, my daughter looks just like that pop star, Beyonce. She's my spirit animal. I just want to say inside, I feel that I really do look like Beyonce. So I'm happy to talk with anybody. I don't know if we have any questions virtually.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions virtually, feel free to type them in. We just have one comment so far saying thank you so much for your insights and experiences.
And that you like my dress.
I'll
Yes.
add that part.
Yes, it's just, and that you like my dress. I'm excited to get to know everybody today. I encourage you to get to know there's vendors, there's so many great sessions here. Be part of it, take it in. And I also just want to say, and I didn't include this in my remarks, you're going to make mistakes, parents, caregivers, professionals, but reflect and learn. Expect to not know everything. Expect, my professional friends, to get a caseload or a child assigned to you that you are like, I have never heard of this syndrome before. What am I going to do? Come to your colleagues. We'll walk you through it. I also want to encourage my professionals in those moments, turn to the parents, because those parents are with this little one. They'll tell you all kinds of great things. So be part of this, make mistakes. And parents, I don't care how fancy that professional seems. You have power, you have insight, and you have understanding, because at 2 a.m., it's you who's there, who knows their child, who understands these things. So you don't need to be an expert to be an expert on your child. Connection is the most important thing. So find it. It might feel weird at first, but connect. It'll drive so many wonderful things.
I have a few more for you, Robin.
Okay. Oh, somebody else likes my dress.
Jacob is asking for you to tell us a couple more stories. He loves your anecdotes and wants to hear a little bit more about your childhood.
Okay, so there's another story that I do like to share. So when I had my first daughter, my mom came over and was trying to feed her. And so in order to make this happen, my mom is like old school skills. So she was putting her finger over the nipple. Does that make sense? While she was trying to feed my daughter. And the milk was kind of going everywhere. It was kind of a hot mess, to be honest. And it was so funny because she was like, you know, Robin, you just really seem to figure out a lot of things. And so I have this flashback of myself, probably as an older toddler or whatever, you know, when your parents are trying to feed you. Well, in order for my mom to do that, she would have to put one hand on my face to find my mouth and then bring the spoon to it. And my aunts would share this story that I just was like, just give it to me. I can figure it out. I can do this. I don't need your hand on my face. So we had some fun moments there. And there's another one, and this is an older story. I'll just share this one. So if you couldn't tell, I'm an extremely vibrant person, and I could easily crack myself up laughing. And one time I was walking with my mom. I was probably like 9 years old, and I was killing it with the jokes. And I don't think, you know, those moments as a mom that you don't think your kids' jokes are funny or amusing or all that welcomed. I think that was the moment my mom was having at that moment. She did not find any of the things that I was sharing amazing. And we were walking, and I never played that game of moving out of the way so she couldn't find me or any of those things. But I did always like to remind her that I was quick and fast and smart, and I was all that. So we're walking down the streets, and I'm cracking myself up about jokes and saying a few smart remarks. And my mom is walking with her white cane, and she's just calmly walking. And I let out a comment that was probably unsavory. And all of a sudden, my mom takes her cane and just goes whack and cracks me on the leg. And being the overdramatic child that I was, I howled on the ground, but I looked over at my mom, and she had the biggest prideful face walking, and she just kept on going. And if we could caption that moment, it was, I got her smart mouth, didn't I? So I will always remember the day that my mom got me with her white cane. And it was a moment that has never left me.
Okay, I have a couple more.
Okay.
How do you implement, it's saying EC, but
It's ECC.
yeah, I figured
Okay.
it's ECC at home.
How do you implement the expanded core at home? Okay, before we start to think this is a really big thing, we're going to take it down a notch. Everybody here eats, right? So during meal times, allow your child to be part of that experience. Sometimes families will like sequester their kid off or do different things. If everybody's eating nachos, let your kid be part of nachos. It doesn't matter that they might have a G tube, right? Put some nachos, let them touch the cheese, let them understand it, and then label it hot cheese, good cheese. Cheese is always good. So in meal times, you can do that. Another thing that I used to do in early intervention is that when the parents, a lot of times I did spend time with mothers, but it doesn't have to be, was doing the laundry. I said, put your baby in the basket when you're taking out the clothes from the dryer and let them know where the clothes, just say dryer and pull out the warm clothes and put it on them and have fun with it. So in my breakout session, I'm going to talk a lot about more strategies on how to do expanded core at home, but simple everyday things. And our research tells us that the number one thing that you can do to facilitate great expanded core learning at home is connection. Play with your child, put them on your lap, hug them, carry them around with you. In fact, I was notoriously known as the kid who was carried by her mom because that's what my mom had to do. My mom put me in those little baby Bjorn front pouches and carried me everywhere. The reverse is true. Put that little one as possible in a little carrier. Take them with you for everything. Connection is the number one thing. Remember, there's no race to hit milestones. There's no quota of experiences you need to do during the day, but include your child in things. That's a big one.
Okay, we have another question
Okay.
about your mom. How do you handle people judging and looking at your mom?
Oh, okay. So this is a big one. Everybody always asks me, what was it like to have a blind mom? And they always do it in a hushed tone, just like that. And I always say, what's it like to have a sighted mom? Because my mom is just a mom. My mom was just a mom. Now, people did look, I'm not going to lie, you don't miss somebody walking with a white cane up and down the streets of Chicago, right? But everybody also got to know who my mom was. And so if she was crossing the street and it was particularly dicey, somebody would walk over and say, hey, Patty, you need a hand? But something that I do share with my students because of my life walking with my mom is I always say, people are always going to look at you. So give them something good to look at. Let them remember the day that they saw a blind person be a real person and do something great. So every time we do things, I always tell my students, give them something good to look at because they're curious and they want to know. And I just say, we're just an everyday person living this dream. Fun fact, I did bring my students to my old neighborhood in Chicago and I did a lesson with them and they had to find my old elementary school and all these places that I lived and everything. And every time we did anything. And so, like I said, I've done Spartan races, if anybody knows what that means. I've done warrior dashes with students. And I always say the same thing. Give them something good to look at. Let them see an empowered person. So every time people looked at me and my mom, I smiled. And I was like, it's pretty cool, huh? And I just kept walking. Give them something good to look at. Now there's fun moments. Do I have time to share this last story about my mom? Is that cool? Okay. I have to tell you guys the science project story. So in 5th grade, remember old school, anybody in my genre, like the old school science projects where you did something. So in 5th grade, I was like, I'm going to win the science fair and I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on the human eye. Sounds pretty cool. So I did the diagram of the eye, but here's the reason why I thought I was going to win. Because I told my mom, pop out your prosthetic eye. I'm taking it to school. And I did. Now, here's the funny part. This is where reflection comes into play, okay? Because my mom did it. Now, this is my mom's only prosthetic eye, just so everybody knows. We live on the south side of Chicago. We're poor. I'm not going to lie. I grew up real poor. And so for us to lose this eye would have been catastrophic. But was I thinking about that? No. I was blinded by the first place victory I really thought I was going to have. So I took my mom's eye and I put it in a plastic bag and I threw it in my backpack and went to school. Now, at the time, that seemed like the best idea. How am I going to bring my mom's eye? I don't want to put it in my pocket. That seemed unhygienic. So I'm just going to throw it in a bag and take it to school and carry it and hold it to everybody. And I said, look, this is what your eye looks like. Ha ha. Now, there's the reflection piece. A few things I thought about later on in life. One, that was a terrible idea to carry your mother's eye in a plastic bag that you found in your kitchen. Wrong. But the second part is, how awesome is my mom? Because she sat for 6 hours at home without her eye in because her daughter wanted to bring it to school in a baggie and pass it around to all of her friends. Like it was the coolest thing ever. Now, for the record, I did get an A. That's right. I was taking the clincher on that because I brought an eye to school. But my sweet mom sat at home all day long without her eye in. And then, do you think I carefully washed it and gave it back to her? No, I just kind of tossed it back to her. I go, there's your eye back, Mom. Pop it back in. Things I've learned in maturity about prosthetic eyes. So that's my infamous science project story, but I was so proud of that moment. Okay, I see a hand.
I'm coming. Hold on one second.
Hi, I'm just, I wanted to say, we're surrounded by people, obviously, who are on board and supportive of people living with low vision and blindness. In your experience of 20 plus years working with low vision and blind people, would you say the public response to disability in general is trending in a positive direction? Are things getting better? Or I don't want to put a downer in case the answer is no, but would you say?
I'll make a positive spin.
Oh,
I think
thank you.
I think a couple of great things have happened that I've observed. So this is the experience and gospel according to the life of Robin Clark, just so everybody knows. But I think there's been a couple of really cool things that have happened, particularly for the community of people with visual impairments. I can't speak for everybody, but I can talk about this. I remember when the iPhone came out, that was a huge opportunity for all of my students and many adults. And so that was a linchpin change moment where all of a sudden kids that didn't want to carry that CCTV or do all of these things that were just different could use an iPad or an iPhone. And all of a sudden accessibility changed the game in a different way. So I remember that moment, and that was huge for so many students for so many reasons. The other thing that I think is worthy to share is our idea that accessibility and access to learning matters so much more now. In education, not everywhere, but in lots of places, we are hearing about universal design more, and we're being more thoughtful about that. And we're trying to include things. Now, remember, blindness in the field of visual impairment, we are the low coconut on the disability tree, meaning we are a low incident disability. So just for frame of reference, disabilities like autism or Down syndrome, I'm just going to use names that we're familiar with. Those are high incident disabilities. They're the top coconuts on the disability tree. Not that anyone's better than the other, but just to give you perspective, we're a low incident disability. And so I think for a lot of people, it's not that we don't want to include things. It's because for most kids that live with blindness, they're the only kid in their school. They're the only kid. And it's isolating for them, and it's hard for them. And so it's hard to ask everybody, not impossible, and we definitely need to, but to consider that. So I want to share a couple of those points with my answer. But I think the idea that access matters. And honestly, I love the push that Perkins puts out on social media that education is a human right. I saw that sticker when I came and I was like, I got to get that sticker on my something else. I got to have that. I got to have the t-shirt. I want the bag. I want everybody to have that. And I think what we need is more people to believe that and to find action steps, because education is a human right. Learning is for all students, and we need everybody to be part of that. We need to let go of the disability myths about limits and show and do other things, which is why being meaningful out into the community matters. Now, When I did the Warrior Dash, which is an obstacle course race with all my students, on the backs of our shirts, it said, "You were just passed by a blind person." Now, some of you may not like that, and I respect that. But for the particular students that I served, that was very empowering for them. Many of them had low vision and didn't want to claim any part of their blindness. So for them to proudly wear a shirt that said, "You were just passed by a blind person," and to own that part of their identity was enormous. And not only did we wear it, when we did run past people, they all yelled, "You were just passed by a blind person. Blind kids." And we kept going. So we're making gains, but we'll never make the gains that we need to make if people, one, don't work together on this, and two, change the narrative. People need to see ability so that they can not see disability. But if we always just talk about disability and not focus on ability, then we'll never understand what people can really do. And for our students, the students that I serve, they know that it's not about what we see, it's about what we do. And that's a mantra that we identify with and live with. So I hope that that helps in the gospel according to Robin. I hope I didn't offend anybody. Go ahead. We'll just wait for a microphone to get to you so that our virtual friends can hear you from the jump.
Thank you so much for this amazing keynote. My name is Sneha Harsh, and I just graduated from Harvard School of Education. So my question is, so I've worked with 3 years with blind children back in India, and right now I'm associated with the Learning Center here in Framingham with the deaf education. But when you say accessibility matter, and when I think about home back in India, and there is so many problems, right from infrastructure to accessibility in terms of resources, teachers, special educators. So what advice do you have for somebody like me who is very early and do not have 20 years of experience to have and be patient in this field and be able to become you one day? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to need to give an abbreviated answer for sake of time, but let's connect later because I'll give you some real resources. Here's the first thing that I would say for accessibility in the home. You don't need to change your entire home. Now, my mom hates this because where she lives, she was like, "I really want a talking microwave," and she's naming all these things that she wants. And so when I come to visit her, she'll tell me all these things. And I was like, "You don't need a talking microwave. What you need a talking microwave for?" I think she actually hates the fact that I'm in this field a little too much. I was like, "She needs some bump dots. Let's learn the keypad. There we go. Put it on 5. What can you do from there?" So the $2,100 talking microwave that she thought she had to have and everybody else did, I reduced to $2 by bringing my bump dots. So I'll say accessibility at home, low tech first. High tech is great and it has a place, but low tech, you can replicate quickly. What do you do when a fancy machine dies? A fancy machine, you know what I'm saying? But low tech works. So it starts with understanding, not that you have to change everything, but what are the critical things? So this whole point of educate and educate yourself, for each child, educate to their needs. Do they have some usable vision? What can they see and when can they not see it, right? What do they need to touch? So again, the bump dots, and I'm just using this little dot thing that you can buy for $2 on Amazon. If we need it on Amazon, Independent Living Skills Aids also sells them. But it's about going, what are the needs? Because here's the other thing. If you go out of your way buying all of these things, what do you do when that child has to leave that environment? So the goal is to create the problem-solving skills and the understanding with the child so that they can take that to different environments. Now, there's little things that I used to do with my families in early intervention. I would say, keep a black blanket in your trunk of your car at all times. Because then anywhere you go, it doesn't matter how visually complex the environment is, you can lay down your black blanket and put your baby on it and life is great. So I used to make these CVI car kits with families because I didn't want families to just be restricted to being at home in this accessible playland that they made. I wanted them to be able to go to playgroup and to families' homes. So we made portable kits of basic stuff In fact, when you come to my session, I have a finished box that I made for families, and all it is an old diaper box. And I went to Dollar Tree and I bought some shiny red wrapping paper, and I took the diaper box and I wrapped it around and I said, there you go. There's our finished box. If this ever falls apart, you can make it again. You've got another diaper box. Here's Dollar Tree. Here's the red paper. So when we talk about how do we make this work, it's nice, but it's not about how much money you have and about a premier facility. You can do a lot of great things if you understand the child's needs and you work with it. And in fact, I prefer if we try to find more lower key, less expensive options, because I don't want to set up my families to say, well, I desperately need that $5,000 piece of technology. Not yet. No. What you do need? Some bump dots, right? Some Dyson, right? Some shelf liner that you can put underneath things. So there's so many things that are that little that make a difference. Velcro, bells on things, right? Those are all little things that you can do. Fabric. I used to just buy black fabric, red fabric, yellow fabric, green fabric. And I would just use them. In the classrooms, I keep t-shirts. And so what's a quick way to making something accessible? Making sure that the person working with this child isn't wearing a visually complex shirt. What do? I carry t-shirts. And when somebody forgets, and they do, I'm always like, hey, she's not going to do that feeding lesson with you because your shirt's a party. She can't look at that party. I throw them a shirt. I said, she likes green. There's a green shirt. Bought it at Michael's for $2. There you go. Put that shirt on. And at first people are, they get offended. And I'm like, well, she really can't look at you. She physically cannot look at you right now because of what you're wearing. So put on the shirt and I bet she'll find the spoon. Happens every time. So you don't need a ton of money. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but you don't need a ton of money. You need to educate yourself and understand who these kids are. And I always call it their what and where vision. What can they see and where can they see it? That's what you need to know first, right? Do they see it on the periphery? Do they see it in the center? For me, most of my experience with learners who have complex learning needs, I always start on the periphery, right here. And then I work my way into central. Know how to wait. You might wait a while. You don't have to overwhelm. You don't have to have everything perfect. Do you know how many parents have made things out of laundry baskets, PVC, and a pool noodle? Countless parents have made amazing things. In fact, many of them, I learned about the bathing chair because this mom had a laundry basket, a pool noodle on the sides, and that's how she was able to take her child who couldn't sit up with a wedge, and that's how she bathed him. I didn't come up with that. I didn't buy her something amazing. She made that on her own out of a laundry basket and a pool noodle. And if you don't know these things, check on Pinterest. There's always an idea on Pinterest. And in today's world, Instagram and TikTok, if you're good at it, but no bueno, I can't do it. Somebody had to teach me how to use Snapchat so I could talk to my son.
Any other questions in the audience? Okay, I think that there's one in the chat virtually. So let me just get back to my computer. Okay, so we have just a couple of comments. Your wisdom and words should be lived by all parents. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing it so eloquently. And another one, thank you for a possibilities, positive presentation.
It works.
And the last question is, how do you do self-care when you're not feeling like Beyonce?
Okay, so I'm going to share with you advice that I gave to all of my families when I was in early intervention. Get yourself some headphones or earplugs or AirPods now. When I was doing it, it was headphones. There are hard moments and you've got to create time for yourself. I know that as families, you think you can't leave your new child who might have complex needs, but you need to take moments away from your child. And I also share this as a mom of teenagers, just that alone. I'm sure you understand and have sympathies. But I have hard teenagers who really struggled with some real mental health issues that were really defeating for me. And so, number one, I believe in mental health, whether you need to get that from professionals, support groups, or just yourself, they work. For me, in my experience with my daughter and her very complex needs that she experienced, joining a parent group was self-care, because it was so nice to be with other families who were saying and understood the same things. That was so powerful and healing and renewing for me. My comment about the AirPods or earplugs, whatever, was it's okay if you need to make a playlist of music that you love and you put it in, so that while your child is banging on metal pots and pans, because that's what your super cool early interventionist suggested, or because they're screaming and they won't stop crying and it's really hard and you need a moment, put some earpods. I keep saying that wrong. Put some earplugs in. Listen to some music, listen to things that renew you. Make a list of easy things that renew you. And for families and for relationships, no matter what your relationship looks like with your partner or spouse or whatever, don't forget them. If there's anything that I saw the most is when one caregiver got super wrapped up in this new child and just abandoned everybody else, and they lost their identity to this new child. Don't let that happen. I will tell you personally, the only way that I was able to survive this really difficult time with my daughter was because of my relationship with my spouse, with my husband, and he was there for me. So whatever this looks like for you, partner, spouse, whatever, take time for them, because something as big as having a new baby or a new child that may have very complex needs, that can become a wedge that will divide a partnership so easily. So don't let that happen. It's okay to have date night. Even if you have date night in your garage where you shut the door, so you're not technically far away from your little one, but you need to have date night. I'm also going to say, go to those hand and stone massage places. Get yourself a facial. I love them. I do it on the regular. Make your self-care toolbox. But just remember, don't isolate. Don't lock yourself in a corner. You can't do it that way. We need each other. That's why this conference exists, so that you can be connected. Have that, whether it's virtual in a Facebook group, whether you go to a meeting. The biggest part of self-care is to remember that you're not alone and get to people that understand you.
And with that, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, Robin.
I wanted to share this one last thing, because after hearing some of your questions and wonderments, if you're curious, when I did this presentation, you don't have access to my slide deck entirely, because those are personal pictures of my mom and different things that I didn't quite want everybody to be able to download. However, if you want to see more things, this is not a shameful plug for followers, but you can follow me on Instagram at 9morethancore, the number 9. Get it? 9 more than core. There's 9 areas of the expanded core. Cue jokes. Okay. But if you want to see these adventures that I was talking about doing a Spartan race, doing a triathlon, doing all of these things, I do have consent for that to be posted on my social media, and you can see all kinds of things from babies to young adults. There's all kinds of great things. So you can follow me there, and I'm around. Let's talk. Let's have fun. I'll share resources. I'll talk your ear off. So thank you again so much. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated this. Thank you so much.
So there's a 15-minute